Good morning, everyone. Hi, I'm Bill Droege with Turnkey Technologies, and I'd like to give you a little overview again, as Brad has mentioned, about Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. The big areas that we basically talk about in terms of why you might want to replace whatever current system you're using is because some of these lacks in terms of application capability or just limitations, if you will, in where you're at in your current system. And I think you probably recognize these. I think that's maybe why you're out doing some research, hopefully. And again, we'd like to show you a good overview today and then answer any questions that you may have more in depth as you feel they're necessary. So classically, as we displace or replace current systems in our customer base, it's because of insufficient reporting, don't have access to the database, don't have access to all the tables, don't have access to all the fields, those types of things. You have some duplicate data. If you have multiple systems, you've got data, one side you're doing sales, the other side you're doing receivables, maybe your GL, finance, AR is all on one accounting system, but you have an order entry system somewhere else. You got a website, you've got a process for manufacturing on a different third silo. So that's where we want to pull that all together in a single database, SQL database in the cloud, completely accessible. Is first we talked about reporting, robust reporting capability and data management and data access capability. If you've got some manual processes, we want to pull those on. If there's a lot of spreadsheets being moved around in your organization, that's a classic, example of the customers that we've helped in the past. We pulled those on to the Business Central system, and we'll talk about those capabilities and where we can reduce those and take those manual processes to get that shared data, shared information, which is key, which leverages everyone in their ability to do their jobs. Siloed system is, again, kind of a theme here in terms of multiple systems and their different data, and they're not talking to each other, and they're not sharing that data across systems. And then security issues. Whenever the big move to the cloud today is primarily for security, also for capabilities in terms of access to connected IoT, Internet of Things, AI, these types of issues that are also delivered with Microsoft Azure cloud capability. So these are some of the reasons you might have for taking a look. A little bit about Business Central. It comes from a historic product called Navision, and it's been around for a long time internationally. There's thousands and thousands of customers out there, so this isn't a new product. What it is a product transformed into the Microsoft Azure cloud. And basically from there, they took a look at the user access, the user interface, and brought that all current. Has, again, ability in the cloud, your data stored in the cloud, your reports, you can have access and attach documents to your data in the cloud. All of this is secured. Microsoft spends billions of dollars to keep that the highest level of security. They just won a major government contract for the Azure cloud that was, again, based on their high level of security. Designed for the mid-sized company, so this is a very easy product to migrate to. You can start with as many as 1 or 2 users to get on and have a test drive, if you will. Can even do a test drive before you commit to even a user user licensing, and then you can grow into it. So it's very scalable as well, and I'll talk a little bit about that in some of the live stuff. Shares the same code as Nav, so you could do on-prem if you needed to. So there's a lot of legacy Nav customers out there that are this product will be moving them towards the cloud, again, for primarily security scenarios as well. And again, big warehousing, service management, and manufacturing capabilities that were historically in the NAV product. So here's a little look at the core applications under financial management. We've got accounts receivable and payables, which means basically you'll be able to invoice and then also pay your purchase and receive and pay invoices for materials and expenses through accounts receivable and payables. Do a bank rec. You can cut checks to pay your outbound payments, and then do a bank rec to validate all the checks and things that have gone through your bank account. We can integrate to a bank file and mark those, paid or cleared, and identify what's currently open in your bank, so reconcile to your current bank position. Fixed assets is a capability in the financial side. So if you have a large base of assets, maybe you have some equipment or trucks that you want to manage and as well and track the asset base there and move them through that, keep their depreciation schedules and do some of the things maybe today that you're outsourcing to your financial group today. Maybe pull some of that back and reduce some expense there. Month-end, year-end closing, just kind of a standard operational piece. As far as the finance, we have various monthly periods for your different financial periods, and you can close those, leave them open, go back and access them even if they're closed, if you need to do some kind of retro posting or accrual. Sales and service management. So the sales side is really a full-blown sales and contact management piece, where we can start from a quote, move to a sales order, ship the order, and then invoice it, move right through those steps, and it can be both product, real product, hard goods if you have it, have a complete inventory management system underneath that, or you can do services as well. So if you're in a service-oriented business where you're charging for your services, we just generate a service type item, and if it's a repeatable sale item, or you can post a service or a revenue directly to a general ledger account. You want to charge for some service and just use your GL account, post right into it versus a regular sales or product sales scenario. Payment processing as well. So I have a complete cash receipts capability to pull in your cash receipts, accept credit cards, ETS, ACH, checks, obviously, and make payments against the accounts receivable against your individual customer accounts. Project manager is a nice piece. It has some capability in terms of again, maybe service managers, if you do projects where you're going to be over time, some amount of delivery of services or product, we can build that project out, be able to generate a quote for that project, release the project if you win it, and then track through in a budget capability against everything that you deliver it, against the budget that you built your original quote around, and keep a track that you make sure that you're staying in budget on the delivery of those projects. We have people using projects in construction industry as well, kind of a classic build out project. Maybe some people we've had people that do, similar to ourselves that we do. We're a big project user in-house of our delivering our software implementation projects. So we'll have a whole listing of the activities involved. We'll cost those out. We'll have the resources involved, be human resources or product to do that, and track those through and make sure that we're delivering those in a timely fashion, as well as in a project budget management capability. And resource managers, as I said, you can identify resources that are involved. You can identify it down to a user, to a person level, to an HR level, or you can identify just to a summary level. We can say it's just one of a group of people, and we just costed it at a standard cost for that particular resource. Supply chain, again, inventory, purchasing control, shipping to receiving, all the way through procurement, through to payables, operations management. We do forecasting, production planning. So we have a production capability inside that supports both process and discrete production. We also have a capability, if you're not a full-blown production, we have a kitting or an assembly capability where if you're just assembling product to build something out of your component parts in your inventory, we can do that as well, and then build to order or build to stock, either one, in both production and assembly. And then warehouse management, so we can locate items in warehouse, multi-warehouse capability as well, and bin locations, and track those, and have you reorder and manage to the location level. And then very heavily report and analytics based, customer insights, a lot of reports built in, capability to tune those reports, interface to Microsoft Excel as we are in the Microsoft stack, and interactive dashboards, built-in intelligence, which is Power BI, which is a Microsoft tool to help you develop reporting, custom reporting, and then also integrated Power BI into your desktop. So this is a little look at the business performance tools. I'm going to go into the demo here in a second, but I'll show you some of the tiles and the capability, tracking in individual transactions that go on in a focus based on the role that the individual user is assigned to. But here's kind of an example of a Power BI, built-in Power BI. It's going to segment your customer sales by customer and identify, what in a pie chart here or whatever type of chart you want to develop, where are your sales coming from, and who has the largest share of the pie, who you should be focused on, and maybe who you should be going after to help develop a larger piece of their business. Real-time updates that you get from the data. So this is all connected to your database real-time. Basically, you can refresh at any point in time to pull that through. This is all being driven, so the actual data is coming through the transactions in Business Central, and then they can be summarized into the performance analysis tools, and all you have to do is refresh it, periodically. We can build in a standard refresh that runs periodically as well in a scheduled job if you'd like. So then you drill down on these charts to see where the details are. So we present, the activities and the totals, and then if you see an issue, then you want to drill down. So it really supports a management by exception capability. Everything here you're going to see, if you see color reds on the tiles, that means there's a transaction in there that's past due or over some threshold, needs to be brought to your attention. Again, that's an exception scenario. We want to go and manage that, see what the issue is there. Again, and the drill down capability supports the management by exception concept as well. Advanced analytics, again, another kind of look here at some different bar charts, pie charts capability, the output of your particular data as you want to take a look at it in terms of Power BI and a lot of capabilities. So this is kind of the underpinning of some of the analytics where you can develop your own kind of chart graph scenario, have your timelines and your scale developed related to your particular focus. And then here's like the capability of saying, okay, I want to have this particular piece of data out of the table that I'm looking at, sales data, purchase data, payables data, slide it over and populate it into that view and basically do that. You can also then do queries in here and identify, here's the threshold. I only want certain transactions above a certain threshold. I only want certain customer groups, those types of things. So it's very simple to get a hold of this tool. We're going to deliver some samples out of the box to do that. Some other things, there's a lot of extensions built into BC. There's on top of the core product, we have things like document storage and rental equipment management, and we have capability for a lot of different industry-specific capability in our ISV group, which simply launch off the product and go into the App Store to be able to get that. So let's talk a little bit about navigation. Basically, the big things to understand is that it's a graphical user interface. As I said, you're quickly going to see that you can launch at any point in time any particular transactions. You have various actions. The big thing here, I'm going to go to my settings and understand that, I'm Bill coming in as the business manager, which is the role that I have. And this is role-based computing. I can assign myself or assign individual users any of these different roles, again, related to their activities, their primary focus, and then they'll get that particular dashboard and with the data focus related to that type of functionality. So if I went to credit and collections, I'd quickly start to see that I'm managing receivables, and I've got some activities that I'm tracking in terms of callbacks and customer issues. I'm looking at my overdues, those types of things. Finance, I'm looking at financial information, doing general ledger postings and, ongoing transaction balancing, some running financial reports and things. There's an HR capability. As I said, manufacturing. Manufacturing is a premium level license, and I'll talk about licensing here before we finish. Sales order processing. I'm a sales order CSR's focus, and I'm doing orders basically all day, and I'm tracking customer information, those type of things. So you kind of get the role capability. You can build out a custom role. We just ask that you keep the standard roles in there, and you name this the new role, something related to your company, and come in that way. And then under the roles, there are the security permissions capabilities that align with that role, and you naturally inherit those when you get assigned to a role. So quickly we can get in and get to the role and get to the activities that I focus on. The other thing I'll mention here is this is a multi-company capability in the software. So a single license allows you to create as many companies as you'd like. I know oftentimes your organizations may have some small companies outside of your normal business model. Maybe you've got a real estate investment company or equipment investment company that you're uh, tracking, the funding, the various parts of the company in terms of assets and things like that. We will build a training company um, inside of the BC production side so that you can go in there and we'll copy the data from your production side into the training company. So if you have any new hires or you have anybody who wants to train or do a what-if type scenario, they can go into the training company with your real data, test that, validate that, and then identify, that's a process that you want to um, connect to or start to employ. So all these different accounts or companies can be created all under a single license. There's no charge. You can create companies very simply and easily and bring those through. Then basically regional languages and things. If you do have partners or employees that are across the world, you can have them come into their own region and understand they're in their own time zone and identify, that what language they want to see the software represented in. So that's really, again, very scalable. As I said earlier, you can build multiple companies, can have as many users as you'd like, identify them into the roles and the companies that you'd like, and then even into the languages and the time zones that you'd like. So again, that's kind of the role allows me to look at my presentation. Again, if I've got something red here, I've got something that I need to go take a look at. These are activity that I've identified various thresholds for. I've got outstanding invoices, something I need to pay that I didn't get to yet. And if you click into the tiles, that'll bring the detail up for you. So here's some invoices that I didn't pay yet. I've got them set up to pay certain vendors of mine, and I've let them go past due here so we can see. My data is a little not quite as fresh as it should be. So quickly you can even drill that. So it's absolutely drill down all the way into the transaction. And from there, you take your actions. Maybe I just need to go run and pay these guys and go generate a check for them or a payment for them. So there, again, capability across the system, finance, capability, journal entries. We would have under cash management, we would have the cash receipts journals, which is the payments coming in from your customers to pay their accounts. And then we have payment journals, which would be your payments out to your vendors, your suppliers for the invoices that you have open for them. Quickly, again, a capability in terms of the access and integration of the items. So I'm here in the chart of accounts, and I'm going to look at my receivable balance, and I can drill into that and actually see the detail. These are the invoices that make that total up. So quickly there, and then I can go down to these, and I have a ledger capability that I can drill through so I can see if I've had an issue. Oh, where did that come from, or why is that amount? And then we can reference back to there. You can reopen and do some corrections on transactions like that, invoices, payables. Under inventory here, I'm going to look in and I'm going to see that I've got a bunch of purchase receipts, or maybe I've got some transactions that I just did adjustments of inventory, did adjustments of this particular item, and I reversed out some value out of my inventory. So the inventory is fully connected to the database, to the item and quantities. And if you receive items, we update inventory. If you sell items, obviously we take it out. And if you move items or change items from one location or other, we'll move that into the various location balance sheets and structures that we have there. So finance here again, we're kind of structuring the chart. We're identifying headers and things in our balance sheet, assets, liabilities, totals as we need them, detail accounts, whether we can post, posting level accounts or totaling accounts, where when we total, what range of accounts are we totaling, those types of things. So we can construct kind of a format of the general ledger reporting from the chart. And then again, we can have some other schedules and things that we can generate that are kind of self-account schedules that allow you to build out your own kind of reporting. These will come delivered with the standard chart. You can accept and move quickly with our chart if you don't like the chart you currently have, or we can delete that chart and have you input your own chart, and then we can structure various reporting. So, short-term balance sheet and income statement, these are kind of custom ones that were done. Maybe you have a different range of totals there, or maybe you're developing one for a third party, a bank, or another reporting entity. And then, again, kind of standard ones out of the box that come. You can have short ones. Now, again, what happens here is the capability, and I give you a little overview of what was in the system in terms of display here. And this, again, is the tiles, and then down here are some of the graphics, if you will, the Power BI and structure. So quickly, I've got a few reports here that are going to allow me to go in and do these different views. So in Power BI, I can go in, look at the different reports that I've got, select which ones I want to use, go to the next one. They basically refresh then. I can do bar charts, pie charts, as I said. There's a cash cycle kind of line chart that's telling me where I'm at in a particular position and what days, and what is my days outstanding in terms of day sales and inventory, or excuse me, accounts receivable, and how my cash is moving. Again, a lot of capability there in terms of tracking that. And then there's a complete activity capability underneath the system here, so that if I want to track particular transactions, I can go in and see these things. So I've got a capability, what my particular activities are and approvals. Approvals, we have an underlying workflow capability. So if you want to set up some levels of thresholds in terms of purchases or receivables or transactions that they have to be approved, they can go through a workflow that's a standardized workflow, and it can send you emails out to, if you're not on the system, we can reach to your email and say that, this particular transaction happened. Maybe it was a large PO that needs to be approved, and maybe it has to have multiple approvals, those types of things. We can move through a stair-step approval capability, and then you can release those. I'd like to just jump real quickly to kind of walk through the sales levels. So we can start with sales order, move, or actually start from a quote to a sales order. This is where we would pick, pack, ship product, or we could, if you were selling services, you could just drop from a quote to an invoice when you delivered the services, or again, generate an order to identify who needs to deliver those services. And then when we come in and post a sales invoice, and just to show you a little bit of the formatting of this, it's just quickly a header and then the line level details that you need. So I identify what customer I have, what are the products that I have. I can post to a GL account. I can post to an item level. So if I have a true inventory scenario, I can bill for a resource. Maybe I've got some consulting that I'm doing, and I put myself in as a resource, and I pull up Bill and say he delivered a couple of hours worth of consulting to someone. I can buy and address fixed assets, so I can use those on a purchase, bring a fixed asset in and establish it to go across. So quickly just do a billing. We identify that we're going to bill some services, how many hours or units and how much per unit, identify the totals, and then basically we can process that invoice and then deliver that to the customer. The system's fully integrated again with Outlook, so we can deliver these transactions via email. I've got through quite a bit of this, and I'm afraid I'm running out of time. I do want to let you guys allow for some Q&A. I didn't go as deep as I would in any one subject. Again, I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint for just a second, and I did want to talk about the affordability of this product. Again, there's no minimum level of users. We can start with a single user scenario that someone get do a little modeling, if you will, or proof of concept scenario around some of your procedures. Again, full business ERP, as you've seen, a lot of different capabilities. Basically, a $70 Essentials user license gets you all these features. The finance, the purchasing, receiving, inventory management, order processing, workflow, contact manager, basically a full-blown distribution capability, including assembly. So if you are building products at some level, but you're not using really raw materials and converting to a finished good, you're just adding, bolting things together, basically doing an assembly process, you can do some production capability inside of the standard user license, the Essentials. Premium brings in the manufacturing modules, which is more the BOM routing capability, ability to put formulas in and to, again, build from a raw to a multi-component, a multi-level BOM, if you will, from build to one stage and then take that stage and build it into another product to get to a finished good. It'll track WIP as well, the work in process, as you move through those processes. The other part of this is a team member license, which is maybe your people that are working in the production facility or the people working in the warehouse, or maybe it's a employee, a salesman that's in the field that can come in and access, put quotes in, and have his orders processed through to real transactions. So if you have any more questions, obviously we did a very high level overview. If you have any questions in terms of your fit and the application, please give us a call, contact Brad, and we'll be glad to respond to you and answer any questions you have. And if you would like to take advantage of our offering to do a little consulting or a review of your organization, we'd be glad to do that as well. Brad, should I give it back to you for any Q&A or?
Sure, thanks, Bill. Thank you for presenting. We don't have any questions at this time, but as Bill said, please feel free to reach out. We're going to send out the follow-up email tomorrow that'll have the recording from the webinar as well as our contact information. So if there's anything we can assist with, especially if you're looking at Business Central for your business and you need help validating whether that's going to meet some requirements that you have or your short-term or long-term goals, we do offer those consultations for free, no obligation. So do please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. And I think that's it. Bill, thank you for presenting. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And until next time, I hope everybody has a great afternoon.